We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Now clock, kids who got the cocaine. Don't tell me it's the little kids I'm so trained. The metaphor sent from my brain to my jaw. It comes from other places, not the tinted faces. Journalistic values.
Michael Jordan went on to become Rookie of the Year. Okay. Now, here's when the rivalry begins.
Remember that's when they blow his fucking head off. Vietnam vets come back looking like one-armed pets. Nixon bombs, pure text. No picket fence, no job, no eight-till in the car. Blue collar turns to bourgeois. Depressed in your chest. Them are all for sense, no dough.
It's called the All-Star Game. It's called the freeze out, the so-called freeze out. They say that Isaiah Thomas, who at the time was the president of the Players Union, he so-called led a freeze out on Michael Jordan All-Star Game because Michael Jordan, he came in with his fur coat on and, he made everything seem to be about him and, and then brushed the other players wrong who were, established players. People got to understand this here, and I want everyone to understand Michael Jordan was not the star that you know him as. Michael Jordan was a phenomenal player, with tons of potential, but no one knew that he was going to be who he is, right? No one knew that. So one cannot assume that, they were just hating on him. No, that wasn't the case. You understand that in that particular time, we're talking 1985 now, because 84 to 85 All-Star Game was probably in February sometime. So it was 1985. Michael Jordan, he's a junior out of college. And Isaiah Thomas already had 4 years in the league. He'd been an All-Star, I think twice at that time. The following year he won MVP. And that year Ralph Sampson won the MVP and the West won, and Michael Jordan was pissed. For number one, honestly, in this situation, Michael Jordan was the one who was wrong. You're a rookie. And he got 9 shots. He went 2 for 9 in that All-Star Game. And what was going on is that the media made this worse. The media the one who said that Isaiah Thomas led this so-called freeze out on Michael Jordan. So this is when the rivalry begins. And when that rivalry began, the following game when Detroit played the Chicago Bulls, they called this the revenge game. Michael Jordan scores 49 points in a victory over Detroit. So from that point on, it was on. Now, as far as the future is concerned, the Pistons were getting better. Isaiah Thomas, was more so focused on beating the Boston Celtics and pretty much bullying the Bulls. The Bulls were like the little brothers to the Pistons, They just never took Chicago seriously. Don't get me wrong, Chicago was a great team. Michael Jordan, great player. Michael Jordan was unstoppable. But Detroit was saying, we ain't thinking about them, man. We're looking at the Boston Celtics. They drafted Joe Dumars. They drafted John Sally and Dennis Rodman. They picked up Rick Mahorn. They had Vinnie Johnson, and they were building this championship franchise, man. They were so focused on the Boston Celtics that no one else mattered but the Boston Celtics. And for some reason, the Bulls felt that we feel we're in the class. We got the best player on the planet in Michael Jordan. Yeah, you do got the best player. You do have the best player on the planet, but you don't have the best team on the planet. At that time, it was the Lakers and the Celtics were the two best teams on the planet. Detroit was right on the heels. Detroit was saying we right there. Detroit felt that we are in the elite of the Celtics and the Lakers. They weren't even thinking about Chicago, but Chicago had Detroit on the line. All right? So the animosity that built up in Jordan because they couldn't beat Detroit and Detroit was disrespecting them by not respecting them, he was upset. He was upset. And then another thing that kind of upset Michael Jordan. What really upset Michael Jordan was that Isaiah Thomas was a hometown favorite. Not my town. Michael Jordan, like, I own Chicago now. This is mine. I've been there. You know, Jordan, man, Jordan was not that, I want to be like Mike, you know, smiling in the camera, dunking. Jordan was not like that, man. Jordan was a competitor, man. That dude was a predator, man. That dude was cerebral. He didn't like people much. He was... You should hear about those practice sessions that he used to give his team the beans. You know? So, by being so competitive, you know, he wanted what Isaiah Thomas had. He wanted the heart of Chicago. He wanted that NBA title. You know? Jordan just wasn't satisfied being the top scorer that, you know, he was. He wanted the NBA. That's what he wanted, right? He wanted that. But Detroit kept denying him. Isaiah Thomas kept denying him. And Isaiah Thomas really, he fed into the rivalry himself because Isaiah Thomas was just as competitive. And what was interesting, they had the audacity to say that Isaiah Thomas had demons. Now, I'm playing it even here. I'm not going to be biased because Isaiah Thomas is my favorite player, but guess what? Michael Jordan is my favorite player. He's number 2. So Isaiah gets the vote, in my opinion, you know, of the bias is because he played for the Pistons. And I seen his greatness. I saw Michael Jordan's greatness, but also seen Michael Jordan's underhandedness too to get what he wanted, the NBA. Now, Isaiah Thomas was in his way. Zeke was just in the way for everything for him. You know, he felt that Zeke was in the way for him being the all-star, you know, MVP back in '85. He felt that Isaiah Thomas was in the way of him winning the title. He felt Isaiah Thomas was even in the way of him winning the hearts of people in Chicago, which they already won. But he didn't like them cheering for him whenever he came to town. He didn't like that. So the rivalry existed in Michael Jordan because his indignation against Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons.
Let's take a sec to think back. Brooklyn's the borough. We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Now let's talk about the Jordan rules. Okay. Now, was it how many years? I think it was 3 to 4 years. I think it was either 3 years. I believe it was 3 years. I stand corrected. Maybe it was 4. But the Pistons denied them every time in the playoffs. And Michael Jordan, you know, was getting better, getting stronger. And what was interesting when he learned from Detroit was nothing else mattered but beating Detroit. Just as Detroit, in their minds, nothing else mattered but beating Boston. And when Detroit got a taste of that finals, nothing else matters but getting back to the finals and winning it. So, the Chicago Bulls are definitely the little brothers of the Detroit Pistons. There's no other way to look at that situation, but they were the little brothers. And Michael Jordan didn't want to be no little brother. I told you the story. Everything stems from the beginning. See, Isaiah Thomas didn't really have to compete with his brothers. Isaiah Thomas was elite basketball player from the playgrounds to high school through college and even in the NBA. Michael Jordan was taught, he was always competing because he always felt that he needed to show the world that he's better than somebody. He always felt like that. I'm better than that person. I'm going to show you I'm better than that person. So he's the one who had an inferior. Ain't that amazing? How I got that analysis. Michael Jordan suffers from an inferior complex. There's even stories that he didn't even want people to take showers with him because Scottie Pippen put it out there that he was more, indulged than Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan's like, I tell y'all what, all y'all take a shower after I take mine. That's a true story. Now, I digress. Michael Jordan suffered from his inferior complex when he started to put out there in the media that the Pistons are trying to kill me. Jordan rules. These are Jordan rules. Everybody but Jordan. To sum it up, everybody but Jordan. We gonna put, anytime Jordan get the ball, we're gonna put 2 on him. He dropped the hole, 3 on him. Knock him down. That was Jordan rules. It worked. 2 years in a row, it worked. Until Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant stepped up. They beat Detroit. Now, because I'm about to get ready to come to a close in this situation now. Okay? So, after Detroit, taking my people. And I'm not coming up with no excuses, but I'm going to tell you how T.I. is. From 1984 to 1991, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 7 years. The Detroit Pistons were fighting in the playoffs from 1986, 7, 8, 1989, 1990, 5 years in war. 5 years in war. They retired. They won 2 championships. They won 2 out of 3 finals. They were tired. They were beat up, battle tested. They were wounded. What more can you do? And even Joe Dumars said when they played the Bulls that last time in 1991 playoffs, he said, look at them. They look like us. Chicago Bulls finally prevailed, and there was no looking back. 5 years, Detroit fought. 5 years. Out of those 5 years, they got 2 titles out of 5 tough years against Boston, against Los Angeles. And they finally won it. Okay. I'm gonna get to the last segment of this rivalry, and I'm gonna do a conclusion and close it.
The metaphor sent from my brain to my jaw. It comes from other places, not the tinted faces. Journalistic values are yellow, and then of course falters. You watch Channel Zero with that bitch Bible Alters. She have you believe black invented crack when President Lyndon had the formula way back in '63 with Kennedy. Yes, the double cross. Remember that's when they blow his fucking head off. Vietnam vets come back looking like one-armed pests. Nixon bombs, pure text. No picket fence, no job, no eight-till in the car. Blue collar turns to bourgeois. Depressed in your chest. Them are all for cess, no dough. Crack and bales much less. White he can sell on the corners of Bushwick. White he can sell on the corners of Flatbush. White he can sell on the corners of Bed-Stuy.
As everyone knows, Isaiah Thomas should have been on that Olympic team. The NBA was changing. Everything changed. Thanks to Mr. Dick Ambersol and Michael Jordan's agent, what was his name? David Falk. The NBA changed. The NBA changed its rules. The NBA changed its network. Everything was centered around Michael Jordan. So the NBA, not saying they fixed these games, but I want to say the NBA set it up so that Michael Jordan had an opportunity to play in the finals every year. You need the poster boy, the new poster boy in the finals. Just as you need just as they needed their poster boys, the Celtics and the Lakers in the finals in the 80s. Detroit snuck in with their bad boy tactics. They got in. They didn't want Detroit to win. Detroit was just not really a sexy team, but they sold more memorabilia than any other team. People all across the country wearing bad boy stuff. So now we get to the point where in the NBA now it has I can say, they went to another direction, and that direction was the Jordan era. They left out of the Bird and Magic era when Isaiah Thomas, should have been included in that era because he won 2 titles in that era. So now it's the Jordan era. So now they left CBS to NBC. Did you notice that? The NBA on NBC. Come on, man. That was on CBS. Now they went to, and you notice, the Chicago Bulls play every weekend. Why? Because Dick Ambersol was going to make billions of dollars for the NBA, make it worldwide, to change the climate of the NBA. Now we're talking about the Olympics, 1992. It's alleged that they have gave Michael Jordan 5 lists of players who was going to be on the squad, and Isaiah Thomas was on 3 of those lists, but he didn't want to play with Isaiah. It wasn't that because Isaiah Thomas walked off the court. You think Michael Jordan would give a damn if Isaiah Thomas decided to walk off the court? No, he didn't care. He just didn't want to play with Isaiah Thomas because Isaiah Thomas was his rival. I'm not playing with him. Don't ask me about no Isaiah Thomas stuff. Y'all remember that. Now, Scottie Pippen just shut his mouth. Scottie Pippen wouldn't have been on nothing. Michael Jordan wanted Scottie Pippen with him. Okay, so let me get to the conclusion.
You watch Channel Zero with that bitch Bible Alters. She have you believe black invented crack when President Lyndon had the formula way back in '63 with Kennedy.
All right, Jersey heads. I hope you enjoyed this first installment of the rivalry series. Now to the conclusion of the matter here. They squashed it. Isaiah Thomas, I think he ruptured Achilles 92 season, and he retired, and he talked with Michael Jordan. He said, man, let's just squash all this. junk. Leave it on the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? And basketball is basketball. Whatever happened, happened. Let's just move on from this. And they did. But that was one of the best rivalries in the NBA. Now, I would like to do a rivalry between Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Would be a great rivalry. So I'm just starting this one off here. I'm gonna try to keep them all shorter. But since these are my two favorite players, I just had to, give you a more elaborate story on these two players. Michael Jordan went on to win 6. He won 2 scoring titles, MVPs. I remember when they got back from the Olympics and he was offended that they picked John Stockton over him, and he torched John Stockton for over 40. The following game they played again, that's when Karl Malone gave Isaiah one of them. He gave him a people's elbow. So let me go ahead and end this vid. That's the rivalry series between Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. 2 entirely different people, 2 entirely different backgrounds. No one knew this guy was going to be the player he was. They pretty much knew he was going to be the player he was going to be. Fact is, Michael Jordan did get some help with Dick Ebersol centering everything around him, which is fine. It's only business. But that does not take away from the greatness that he was. Please, don't misunderstand me. Just because he had a little assist, same way they do LeBron James. It's the same stuff. Come on, brothers, the same stuff. But it sells tickets. It makes money. They made billions of dollars off Michael Jordan. Billions of dollars off Michael Jordan. So, it is what it is. So, that's the rivalry series. Your boy Big Baby. I want to say peace and shalom. Until next Friday. Rivalry series!
Let's take a sec to think back. Brooklyn's the borough. We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Now clock